Given what they see from a front row seat, many tell us they have no confidence the Biden administration will stop the humanitarian or national security crisis already out of control.
It's beyond, a border crisis.
And Myra Flores believes many South Texas voters, Republican and Democrat, are furious about it.
We're talking about child trafficking, and we're seeing that the cartel and smugglers are making billions. And this is the same organization that is terrorizing also Mexico. This doesn't benefit anyone.
During our 8 days to the Rio Grande Valley, we caught a close-up glimpse of what's troubling so many here. Waves of migrants dropped on U.S. soil each day by the smugglers and drug cartels. They pay thousands of dollars for what they believe is their only chance of opportunity and survival. Latest data from Customs and Border Protection shows some 171,000 migrants in March, 5 times more than just a year ago. This as White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki again downplays the situation here. The latest when asked about the possibility of terrorists sneaking into the country.
Encounters of known and suspected terrorists are very uncommon.
As the administration plays defense, this new poll shows 40% of Americans disapprove of Biden's response, while just 24% approve. And Gordon, Border Patrol told me every facility along the southwest border is over capacity right now, and those migrants are held for a short time, then released into the U.S.
Well, Tara, tell us, once the migrants are released, where do they go?
Well, Gordon, really anywhere they want. They might be going to see family. They might be going to stay with a friend or even strangers if they don't know anyone already in this country. But the first thing that happens after they get out of detention is they go to a shelter, for example, Catholic Charities or some other, usually a church shelter. And then after that, after they stay there for just literally a matter of hours, they might get a bus ticket. They'll be dropped off by Border Patrol or the charity at the local bus station, and then they head again wherever they want to go. They might also get a plane ticket if they're traveling far. When we came home from our trip to the border, the plane was full from McAllen to Dallas, 3/4 full with people who just came over from Central America, and they're literally holding folders that say, "I don't speak English. Please help me. What plane do I take?" I also, Gordon, we've learned that a lot of migrants now are not getting court dates anymore. They're being told to check in, if being told anything at all, when they get to their destination. So likely a lot of these folks will kind of blend into the shadows and never reach out to the government. The other thing, too, is a lot of money is being spent once they're here on hotels and getting them to their destinations.
Well, you saw a COVID testing tent while you were there in Texas. Was anything being done to quarantine those who were COVID positive?
Well, at least temporarily. You couldn't really get an answer specifically on how long they were being quarantined. But what happens is, for example, at Catholic Charities, they had a tent. Everybody who came through went through the tent first. We could see them being tested. If they were COVID positive, then they came out and they got on a van or a bus and they were transported. Among the places they're going are local hotels. So we actually saw a group getting off at an area hotel in a very public place with other people staying at the hotel as well. Again, they might be put on an airplane as well just a couple of days later, or go to the bus station and be sent out. The big question is, how long were they quarantined? Nobody can really say. One thing I heard is like 3 days, but when we quarantine generally, it's for a lot longer. So it doesn't seem, at least on the outside, like there's a great system in place to monitor how long they're being quarantined for. The other thing is when they're dropped off at hotels or at the bus station or at wherever, they're not under, Border Patrol custody anymore. So there's really nothing to keep them in place for any set amount of time, to the best we can discern.
Well, what are the local residents telling you about the crisis?
Well, you can imagine, as you heard in the piece, many are furious because it's literally the bad guys pulling up to their shoreline, and the bad guys are from the drug cartel. So they pull up to their shoreline right on the U.S. coast. They drop off these migrants again and again and again, and not all who are coming into the Rio Grande Valley are migrant families. They're criminals sometimes that are kind of blended in with everybody else. There's also a lot of concern among the community. They're coming through the Rio Grande Valley first, staying at the hotels. Maybe they're out and about in public areas because there's really nothing keeping them in one spot. So it's also chaotic in the Rio Grande Valley. It's the constant back and forth between Border Patrol dropping people off, and they're worried, especially with COVID and a lot of migrants coming over with COVID.
All right, well, we've got some viewer questions. Maricela asks, could this crisis have anything to do with migrants seeking access to the COVID-19 vaccine?
Gordon, it's a very interesting question, but probably not, because I think that the migrant concerns have so many more concerns other than contracting COVID or getting the vaccine once they're here. They're most concerned with just getting here, getting to the U.S. and becoming part of the system and becoming part of this society. I don't think from anybody I heard, I talked to a lot of the migrants, they were more concerned with safety and getting their family out of harm's way.
Okay, well, we've got another question from Facebook. What is Mexico's role in this border crisis, and is there any way we can work with their government to come to a solution?
Well, it seems like the relationship with Mexico has surely changed. President Trump had done a lot to be heavy-handed with them. So a lot of the migrants were being kept on the other side of the border. The asylum seekers, you could see in 2019, they were camped out along the Mexico border in cities like Matamoros, where they could not get over the international bridge. And today, those tent cities are empty. There's nobody there. One thing we have heard is that Mexico is growing more concerned, that they're looking at things like limiting access, trying to keep folks detained who come across the border via Guatemala, because, again, all the migrants who are U.S. bound are coming through Mexico. So where President Trump was very heavy-handed, President Biden has said he wants to take a more respectful approach. But it seems like Mexico is wanting to work with the U.S. more now to do something, and it seems like there is growing concern with the Biden administration that they do need to work with Mexico to try to get this under control.
Have they changed their wording? For a long time, they didn't want to use the word crisis. Are they now admitting that this is a border crisis?
I have not heard them call it a crisis. The word that's most usually used is it is a challenge. And as you know, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have not been to the border yet. So whether that is indicative of what they actually think of the crisis itself, something people think mostly is a crisis, we'll see whether or not they're going to go there.
All right. Well, Tara, thanks for the insight. Thanks for joining us. You can always get the latest on this story and more by downloading the CBN News Channel app. Do it today. Hello, I'm Gordon Robertson. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more encouraging videos like this one. Welcome to the 700 Club Interactive family, and God bless you.